of the Niche Down podcast. We always start this before we do any introductions. Niche down, you're doing too many things. Niche down to the things you're good at and double, triple, quadruple down on those. And secondly, a friendly reminder, money is not real. It's numbers on a screen. Quit thinking it's real. It's fake. It's nothing, literally nothing. Which is going to be a great segue for a girl that's got the words "I love money" on her shirt. So we got a crazy special guest for you guys. So Dana June is here with us. Yes. She is the author of the book How to Cocktale, right there. Go buy one. They're very reasonably priced for the value that they're going to give to the person that reads them. So super happy, super excited to have you in here.
We did this, just today too, right?
Yeah. Like, listen, everybody knows too. So I live about between 7 and 14 days out of the month in Las Vegas, and the other 14 to 21 days in Salt Lake City, Utah. I go back and forth. And, when I'm in town, I try to squeeze in as much as I can. So, we just threw this together at the last second. Any trouble getting here nice and smooth on the way over here?
It was really easy. I went to UNLV, so this is like my hood.
Yeah. And let's get right into the first question, which is, I always want to know, where did Dana June come from? I always ask, give me the snapshot, 3-4 paragraphs of, from birth to 18 years old, kind of what your upbringing was like, where you're from, all that kind of stuff.
Goodness. Where Dana June is from, if you ask my mom that, she would say the most out-of-line thing.
Okay. Listen.
That is literally what she would say. Do not get too drunk.
Perfect.
So
awesome.
That's where I started, birth.
There you go.
You asked for it. But I was born in Encinitas, California, so Oceanside, a little bit north of San Diego. But I came out here in 2000, so I'm pretty much a Vegas native.
Okay.
So majority of my life, let's age me here. I came out here, I was 4 in 2000. So 6 years, went to middle school, elementary, high school, college.
Some of your first memories are probably moving to Las Vegas, I'm guessing.
I would say, yes, definitely. Right when I moved to Vegas is probably when I started remembering things. Definitely.
Sure.
Moved here. My mom is a Filipino immigrant. Shout out
Filipina ka ba?
I love the Filipinos.
Sobrang ganda mo.
Love lumpia.
Okay.
So I was raised by her. Usually, or not usually, it was just me and her. Single mom. I do have a big family on the Filipino side. So,
of course.
Big family-oriented person. I am really into education as well. Always did well in school. I think that education is really just a representation of how disciplined you are. Okay. So I think I'm just a very disciplined person. I would always say I'm a hustler. I've always been a hustler. Got it from my mom. I was in the back of the school bus selling Airheads, selling the candies, hot hands at the bus stop. So I've always wanted money. And I always knew that it wasn't money that I wanted. It was the ability to do whatever I wanted. If I wanted to eat this food, I could eat it whenever I wanted. So I just didn't like being told no. And money was the way to say yes to everything. So when I went to school out here, and at 18 years old, that's when I joined the service industry.
Okay, cool. So you already took my next question, which is awesome. My favorite question to ask after that is and maybe I'll just have you expound on this. What were your views on money as a child, and do you remember the things that kind of shaped that? Obviously, you kind of just said there, from an early age, it sounds like you recognize that whatever this thing called money was, and we'll get into that a little bit more in depth, that seemed to be an obvious path to freedom. So talk a little bit more about that, maybe if there's specific events that shaped your views on money, and tell me your thoughts.
So I definitely talk about it in my book, but my mom was a cocktail waitress. So I talk about me being in the service industry for 10 years, but she was also in the service industry. She worked at Town Nightclub in 07, 08.
How old's your mom?
51.
Okay, interesting. Cool.
Yeah, but she looks really young for age. I think she was one of the older ones working there, probably in Vegas terms.
Asian don't raisin, baby. We know that.
So I just think growing up with her, I personally thought we were rich. Growing up, she would always give me whatever I wanted. If I wanted to go to the mall, $20, here you go. Yep. And then I think she lost her job, and it took her a while to recuperate back in the industry. And now she's actually a table games dealer. So she never even went back into cocktails after that because she had the cream of the crop. How are you going to find something better than the nightclubs, you know. So I think seeing that shift, I was like, wait, why did everything change so instantly? Why are we broke in a sense? Like, I thought we had everything. So I realized that it was just the fast money that was keeping us afloat. It wasn't really the stability.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Well, where do I start here? Because you just gave me so much to work off of. So this is going to be really great.
Yeah.
Because just crossed over last night 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Let's go. I saw that.
About 25% of that is the Philippines. So I have a very strong like Asian Filipino fan base.
Let's go.
Everybody
Even though
knows.
it's Black Power, but
Again, I love my I really. This could be offensive, man, but I really don't date white girls. I only really date like girls from Thailand and the Philippines, and there's some reasons we can get into there. But yeah, konti lang Tagalog, a little bit.
Konti
Okay.
lang.
So-
Konti lang. Konti lang po. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
You speak
So there's that. That's the first thing. Secondly, my mother was a waitress my whole life growing up. She worked at Denny's. Little separate end of the spectrum there. But this is actually, like, you didn't know this coming in, but this is actually a subject that's very near and dear to my heart. So I can't wait to get into it with you. And then thirdly, I spent my 20s as a bouncer in the nightclubs in Salt Lake City. So, and
They got clubs in Salt Lake City?
Baby girl, come on now. No, people don't know about Salt Lake. Salt Lake's a real town now. Now, listen, nothing is going to come anywhere near Vegas, okay? Vegas, LA, New York, Miami, obviously is shitting on everybody. But no, Salt Lake is pretty cracking. People are surprised to learn that. But yeah, I spent my 20s. That was my night job. Dated my fair share of cocktail waitresses. It was what it was. But I am like intimately aware of, first of all, everything. I haven't read the book, but I know what it's about. I'm intimately aware of everything that you're likely talking about in there, and I just spent a lot of time in that world. So, so yeah, I can't wait to get into it with you.
It's funny that you say that it's complete opposite spectrums. I don't think so at all. I think she was probably making really good money at Denny's, you know, had her regulars, probably had a good shift, and it was cash every day. I mean, she was able to take care of her family, so...
And it's different but the same, right? Town nightclub versus Denny's is like, that's what I mean, is it's a little different.
But the fast money, you know, and the experience.
Exactly, it applies. And that's kind of what I want to get into is like, this is not just for cocktail waitresses, I don't think. Like this, and again, I know we can get into my dating history and stuff, but every girl I've ever met that's in any sort of service industry, I mean, listen, we're in Vegas. This could be dancers. This could be cocktail waitresses. This could be the waitress at Denny's. This applies even to valets. Anybody where you're hustling day to day to get basically cash money. It's interesting. All these people get sucked into this money trap, and then they're broke.
Absolutely.
And I've always I've thought a lot of these same things too. So again, super excited to get into it, and I know a lot about all this stuff.
I love that.
So cool. Well, let's start off at the beginning there. 18 years old.
Yes.
Where did you start, and then go into? I assume if you've got 2 college degrees, one's an MBA, which is where I started. I went to business school for a year and dropped out and decided I was just going to start my own company and I went a different path. But I assume you graduated somewhere around 26, 28 in that range.
I did. So my bachelor's took me about 7 years.
Yeah,
it took me a long time. So I graduated in 2021, and then my master's took me about 2 years. I graduated in 2023.
Okay, so from the time that you were 18 years old until roughly like 27, 28,
I've been in school,
you were, and to be able to pay for that, you were waitress and all that stuff.
Serving them drinks.
Cool. So where do we start?
We can start at 18. So I started as a hostess, and it was actually at an Asian restaurant.
Hell yeah.
And it's funny, we started at like $17 an hour. This is in 2015. That's a really good
in Vegas,
starting. I was 18 years old, and I was making like $50 to $70 in tips a night.
Okay, so and how many hours were you working? Let's do some math there.
Right.
Let's figure that out.
I was working 6-hour shifts, maybe, let's just say 3 to 4 times a week, just to be conservative.
Okay, so your hourly is paying you $100 plus another. You said $25 to $50 in tips.
50 to 70.
Okay, so you're making somewhere between $100 and $200 every single night, like clockwork.
At 18 years old, and I'm going to school at UNLV, and the first 2 years of school, you're not studying your major. So I'm over here taking
Yeah.
math or philosophy, and I'm like, I want to
Okay.
learn business. So it took me a while. I took a gap year, I think, in year 2 because I was just failing. It's really hard to do both. I think that, yeah.
That's why I dropped out.
It's really hard. I commend anyone that is working and going to school, especially if you're working to put yourself through school. It's a really bad cycle
Yep.
because you have to go to work and then
Yep.
you can't. So
Yep.
it took me a gap year, and then I realized I was cocktailing with these girls, and I was like, I'm so much more than this. I don't want to be a cocktail waitress forever. And so I went back to school. I finished it, and once I finished it, people were like, okay, what are you going to do now? Like, are you going to be a manager? Are you going to use your degree, which is my favorite? And I was like, I'm going to go get a master's. I
Okay.
really just did it I didn't know what was next.
Okay.
I know I was making a killing at my job. So
And let's back up a second. Sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
you're
So
fine.
we start out at an Asian restaurant, then we go where
oh,
from
yeah,
there?
sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're totally good.
Started at Cocktails at 21. Same
Okay.
hotel.
Same. What hotel? If you don't mind me asking. Are
I
you
can't-
allowed to say? Okay,
I'm not
don't
allowed
say.
to say at
Okay.
the moment.
A hotel on the strip or downtown somewhere.
One of the
Okay.
nicest hotels on the strip.
Cool. That could be like five or 10 places. Awesome. And we worked there for how long?
10 years.
Okay, so you were there. Basically, you cocktail.
18 years old, and then 21, I became, cocktail waitress, 10 years.
Okay, same place. Don't move anywhere because that's uncommon. Usually, girls bounce around all over the place. My mom would bounce around to like different restaurants and even different Denny's, and then always kind of end up at the same place. Okay, so you're like very unique where you're hustling and you're figuring it out, but you're seeing other girls get caught in the money trap, and they were going to college and then they dropped out, and now 20 years has passed them by and they got nothing to show for it.
Allegedly, they think they have a lot to show for it because they have these Cartier bracelets or these, they're driving nice cars or taking nice vacations. But at the end of the day,
Yep.
they're fighting over $20 tables, or they're here on like random days, and you're like, shouldn't you take this day off? It's supposed to be slow. And you're like, I really got to work this week. And it just didn't make sense to me. And I was like,
Yeah, you're like, you're getting all this cash. How are you always broke? How do you never have anything? And this is an interesting point is like, these girls, particularly in Vegas, like they're complaining about money, but they've got a $13,000 Chanel bag or whatever. And I'm like, hey man,
Sell
like
the bag.
with all this like shit you've bought, you could have put about 4 down payments on houses. You could. So
Absolutely.
I'm always confused by this too. I'm like, why do we need 9 bags? Isn't one sufficient? Like, so what is it? What do you think it is in that industry? And I've got my hypothesis. I'm going to respond after what you
About
say.
the bags?
No. What is it that girls, from the outside looking in, it looks like they are heavily competitive with each other and trying to spend on a bunch of a bunch of bullshit, and then they never put anything aside. What is it about that environment that breeds that happening?
Oh, absolutely. I love this question. I would say it's the fact that you think it's always going to be there the next day. It's worse than living paycheck to paycheck. It's living day to day.
Day to day, dude. Yep.
It's intense. So I even would budget when I was working. I'd be like, okay, this week I need to make my rent. Like that's how I would operate. This week I need to make my rent. Next week I didn't have like a paycheck on Friday and then pay my bills. Like it was 3 days before rent was due, and I had to figure it out those 3 days.
Yep.
So I think that we just have this mentality that it's always going to be there. We're operating out of a scarcity mindset. So it is very competitive, even though we all share the same goal, which is supposed to be give the best guest experience that we can. But instead, we think we're independent contractors instead of employees. And at the end of the day, we are employees. And our job is to serve the guest and take payment, and that's what you are paid your hourly for.
Yep.
Anything above that is a benefit. You should be thankful for. You're not entitled to it whatsoever because you don't have to tip as a guest, like point blank period. So I think that gets misconstrued in what your actual job description is.
And it actually, again, because I know this subject a little bit, so like it's crazy to me. This is a little bit of a side note, and we'll get back on track. But we'll go into large, really nice casinos, and we'll go to a restaurant. We'll be at a blackjack table, whatever, and it's real strange. Sometimes in some of these places, like the people don't understand that the way that you're going to get paid is to be nice to me and make me feel good. That's all you have to do.
It's actually really easy.
Like it trips me out when like a blackjack dealer is like a dick to me, because I'm like, there's doing that guarantees you that I'm not tipping you anything. Why would I tip somebody who just like made me feel bad about myself, right? So it like trips me out that people don't understand that. And to me, I'm always like, if somebody just really grasps that and really, for lack of a better term, like tries to take advantage and manipulate that, and you can do it genuinely, right?
Absolutely.
You can be nice and stuff, but
Yeah.
you can also do it with the understanding, like, this is how I make money.
Right.
I'm like, man, if I was a hot girl at a freaking dealer at a blackjack table, I would be cleaning up, dude. I'd have all the money, So it always trips me out when people want to put their bad mood on like clients, because it's
when you're in a tipped
yeah.
job too. Yeah, no, I think that being hospitable is a old Vegas thing. Like, back when people were making a lot of money. I think now it's more corporate and people are more entitled.
Yeah.
People as in guests and employees too. If I give you a check, I expect 20% or I'm pissed. I don't care what I did. I don't care anything. You should know you should tip 20%. And that's not the mentality that you have to have.
And that's a quick way to be broke, man.
Yeah.
And like on the flip side, if you're just nice and you smile and you like, I don't know.
A smile goes a long way. You do not even you could be the worst servant of it. I'm so sorry. Like, thank you for your patience.
It's all personality, man. And like those type of people, like to me, I don't give to charity. I don't do tithing at a church. For me, again, because of how I was raised and how my mom brought me up. My giving back is like if somebody treats me good, like you could get tipped 300% tonight, dude.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know, that's just, again, that's how I got through childhood. Is my mom was paying for stuff.
That is my way too. I think it's a very easy way to make someone's day.
Yeah, and those people generally, like, they need it, right? Like they're not you're not waiting tables because you got $10 million in the bank, right?
Absolutely.
Like, all due respect. And yeah, so like those are the people that are hustling and really trying to better their lives when they're doing it right. There's a bunch of people that do it so wrong. It's so weird to me. So anyway, that was a little bit of a side note. So okay, so tell me what like your very favorite part of that. Because listen, let's back up a second. It's for those who don't know, who've never done it, especially in a nightclub. A nightclub's a different thing than a restaurant. It's a different thing than it's.
I wasn't in nightclubs.
Okay.
I was in
What were you in?
lounges.
Okay, same deal though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like guys hitting on you, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So in that environment, let's say where there's alcohol involved, that's a better way to put this. It's a whole different ball game. It's more stressful. It's more fast paced, and it's more, there's just more riding on it. I feel like. What was your favorite part about being in that environment?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think.
And you can go your top 3 favorite things. Like, tell me what you like about it.
It's hard. Like, being out of it now, I kind of realized that I was settling with a lot of things and like putting up with things that I didn't like. The environment was a little toxic in the sense.
Okay, so is the answer you didn't like it?
I would say my favorite thing is I met my best friends there, my wifeys, the girls that I know where all the bodies are buried. So
okay.
I'm very thankful for that. I'm very thankful for it putting me through education. It did what it needed to do.
Yeah.
Like I'm thankful for all the lessons it put me through.
Yeah.
But it is a get in and get out. It's like stripping. You're not supposed to be doing this for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, some of my best memories are from.
No shade to strippers. Oh my gosh, the strippers come at me every time I talk about
Good.
it. I'm so
Let 'em
sorry.
come. Dude, that's what
I
we
love
want.
the strippers.
No. Listen, we won't get into that subject right now, Dana, because then I'll really get in trouble. But no, man. Yeah, like I always say, some of the best times of my life were from that. I mean, listen, it is exciting. It is fun. You do meet like some of the coolest people, because the nice thing about that environment is it's a bunch of people that are hustling and trying to, like, a lot of these people have 3 jobs. This is what they can squeeze in at night. They're going to school. They're putting their kid through. I had one kid. It was a Laos family. These young guy and girl that were. He was security and she was a cocktail waitress. Sweetheart Laos couple. That money was how they put their kids through private school, right?
Yeah,
so they made money. They had normal jobs, but that was like their private school money. So. It's just all people that are like, again, if you're willing to work, I assumed you worked late at night, right?
Or everything
exactly.
that I could, yeah.
Anybody who's willing to get up and go to work from 10 p.m. until 3 a.m., like you're not generally doing that just because you got nothing to do, right? Which is funny. I'll tell the story about how I got into it, which is the opposite. But But yeah, man, it's there's a lot of things that are really, really fun about it. But you're absolutely right. Listen, where alcohol's involved, there could be fights, there can be a lot of drama, there can be a lot of toxicity. There's money issues because people don't know how to manage their money that's coming in. Like, it can be stressful.
Friendships,
in those ways.
you get backstabbed because you know your friend, you have this guest that's tipping a bunch of money, or this boyfriend that is really now she's hitting on your. It is bad, and I talk about all of that in the book as well because it's so much more than just making money. It's
politicking.
Yeah. That's
Anytime there's a lot of like girls in an environment and money, it gets crazy. Listen,
it's crazy.
You guys are good at hiding it, but girls are highly competitive in those environments. Right. So, and it gets.
They will eat you alive if you're not. Luckily, the casino I worked at, we were union, so there's a little bit of rules in that sense. You can't just But still, girls are gonna break rules. And you can still make someone feel less than by breaking rules.
For sure. Interesting. Well, my next question was gonna be, what did you hate about it the most? But I think you kind of you led into that good. So okay, this is one I always ask anytime I meet, because again, I get into lectures with girls in the service industry. I'm like, hey man, how come you don't have a house paid off yet, right?
Anything,
like you've been making 10 grand on the weekends. Well, like, why are you asking? 10
grand's a lot. Like, even if you're making $2 grand on a weekend, that's it's crazy.
Whatever the number,
what
right?
Are you doing?
So
yeah.
I'll get into these lectures with girls. So, and I always ask this question when
what
I
do
meet
they
them.
say?
Well, we'll get into that. This is one of my favorite questions to ask because I get into it where I'm a business guy, right? So I'm always like trying to break down the numbers.
That's how I am too.
So if you can remember, and you can give like round numbers, it doesn't have to be down to the penny. Do you remember what's the most amount of money you ever made in one night?
Oh my gosh, I always get this question. Okay. So I never got tipped big. Like, I would say maybe $700 or $1,000, like something.
That's your biggest night?
Yeah, maybe like I walked out with like $2,000 or something like
in a night.
I mean,
it's killer.
Maybe around there, like 1,000 to 2,000, something around there.
Okay.
But I never got the big significant tips. But I think because I gave great service, I would always get maybe 100 or 100% tip or something like that. So I think I was very consistent and disciplined with my job to where I was making money consistently. I didn't need to come in and get tipped $10,000. But I've heard stories of that. There's a girl who got tipped, I think, $60,000, $70,000 in one shift at the place I worked at. So.
Okay. Next question. What's the most you think you made in 1 week?
I don't know. I probably made like $10,000 in a month. That was
okay.
I guess,
10 in a month. That was the next question. See, now you're actually making my point here. These girls, and you are the authority on this, and I ask you how much you made in a week, and you can't even tell me. You don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know. And I can tell you what my average would be. It'd be $1,500.
Yep.
That's what I wanted to make. But I mean, you make $1,200, you make $11.
Okay. Do you know what the most was you ever made in a year?
Oh, absolutely not.
No clue, right?
No clue. And I just started like my last couple years really looking at that. So it's funny. There's this thing called tip compliance. It's a tax. And the government, let's just say it's $10. They say you make $10 an hour no matter if you make it or not.
Yep.
So a lot of the girls complain about it. And they're like, I'm paying taxes just to be here, whatever. 1 year, I actually went back and looked. And I was like, am I beating tip compliance? Or am I? And I beat it by 7,000. So I'm not going to say what year it was, IRS. But I was making more in tips than I was being taxed. And I was like, you girls aren't even doing the numbers or even looking at it for you to be complaining this much. You don't even know. You don't know your numbers. Yep. So, that I'm big on that. It's inconsistent.
Yep. And so this is the trap that people fall into that I find is people go, oh, shoot, I made $2,000 on a Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And they extrapolate that math out. And they think, oh, well, if I work 4 nights a week, I could make $8,000. And if I worked 4 weeks, I could make $40,000. And if I worked, 12 months doing that I could make $500,000. And then they never actually really track their numbers. It's all fun and games to make.
Or work it.
Yep, exactly. Or that's the other thing. Okay, and I always say this, like, I don't even know if I want to go into this because I could make some people mad. But
I know. I'm thinking every time I'm like.
Girls have a bad habit of like if they make a large amount of money quickly, they might go to Miami for a couple weeks and not go work, like not go hustle.
Oh
right?
yeah, Oh,
Yep.
yeah, for sure. You get a big tip. What's the point? Why would I
yeah.
go back to work? Yeah.
Yep. And you tell a guy that he can make $2,000 an hour, like
He's going to go back. He's going
to work 19 hours a day. He's going to sleep only the required amount that he has
I've
to.
had conversations with that.
Yep.
They're like, you're making that much? I would be at work right now. And
Yep.
it's like, no, it's enough.
So where people get tripped up, I think what happens and what causes people to not track what they make is they are constantly chasing that 1 or 2 or 3 best nights they ever had, and in their head that's what they make. That ain't what you make.
Yeah,
you don't make $10,000 a month. You made that once. You did it once, but
yeah, right.
every other month you're making 4.
Maybe 2 because you don't work. Yeah.
And again, I'll get into this with dancers. I'm like, so why? Like you're making? I'll do the math, and I'll be like, you're making like $48,000 a year. Like, why are you doing this to yourself? Like you're too pretty. You could just go be a nurse, or you could do anything else. Like this is not worth it. And they're stuck on that one night that they made some money.
That is so real. That is so real.
So the point is, listen, girls, I'm not ragging on
We love the
you.
strippers.
Here's what I would say. This is just coming from a business perspective, okay? Make sure you're tracking those numbers. Make sure you have a realistic expectation of what you are actually making over the course of not just a night, but a week, a month, and a year. And then make your decisions based on that. And then, by the way, you're going to know, hey, I need to work an extra night a week or not. Or this is when I can go on vacation. Okay, another thing that I want to, and you may go through this in the book. I didn't have time to read your book. I absolutely will. Okay, but my grandfather taught me this, and I am going to draw this on a line. And this applies to everybody, but it particularly applies to service industry workers. So my grandfather was a rocket engineer, okay? As smart of a man as you get. He was my hero, and he taught me this, okay? So most people spend their lives, I'm going to draw this, I'm going to draw this for you. They spend their lives making this amount of money, okay? Like if this is a graph, okay? And your income continues to go up and up and up, okay? And they will generally, most people will spend a little bit more than whatever they make, okay? So you're always, or you're even, or the line might go like this, okay? And then when you stop making money, the amount you can spend tanks because you got no money, okay? Whereas if all you did, the only change you made, okay, was, I'm gonna cross all this out. If all you did instead was spend 10% less than what you make your whole life, okay, your income when you retire will do this, and your spending can keep doing that.
Rocket science. You had it first right here.
Okay, right there. So the point is, if you spend your whole life spending exactly what you make or a little bit more, his line to me was, if you just save 10% of everything you make, when you get to 55, 60, 70 years old, you can spend money like a drunken sailor. That's what he told me. That's what he would say to me.
I love that.
And that's the point is, a lot of people just don't track this. It's a front of mind issue. They keep it in the back of their mind and they don't want to pay attention to it. And there's a weird stigma in the world about that. Nobody wants to talk about money.
Talk about it.
And everybody's scared of it. I would encourage everybody, if somebody asks you how much you make, answer. If somebody asks you whatever, any financial questions, if we can get Americans in particular, but everybody, to not be so afraid of the subject of money and talk about it and think about it more, you're not going to have all this stuff going on because people will actually know what their numbers are. They'll actually know what they're making, and they won't be broke.
And they'll know what they can afford. And
Yep. So
yeah, definitely.
Anyway, we're now just preaching to each other about we're like, I agree too.
No, my uncle, when I was growing up, he said, "What's the difference between rich people and poor people?" And I was like, "They have money." And he was like, "No." He said, "Poor people spend more than they make."
Yep.
That's it. That's literally the only thing. So.
Yep. So.
And with credit cards and Klarna, it's more than easier. It's easier than ever to spend more than you make.
So it's obviously an education issue, and you're trying to help with that, which is so cool, and you're providing so much value. What would you attribute the lack of financial literacy in this industry in particular?
I love that.
Is it people's parents aren't teaching them? Is it they're just scared of it? Is it they don't care? Tell me, what do you think the reason is?
So I actually talk about this in my book as well. I'll talk from Nevada. So we're 48th, 49th, 50th in education.
Yeah.
Education system is terrible. And And I think that it has to do with they want them in the casinos. Why would you empower your locals to be doctors when we need people in the casinos? And the casinos are paying our state taxes and helping our society, so we want to please them. So I just think that, and also from our parents too, they weren't taught as well. You know, I came from an immigrant mother, like what is credit, what is thousands of dollars, especially to the Philippines. So, you know, I think that coming here and making more than you would make in a decade in your home country, you won the lottery. So, and if you know anything about the lottery curse. So I think it definitely has something to do with environment, our education. Definitely.
Interesting. And I would say too, I mean, for sure that's maybe a bigger problem in Nevada, but public school does not teach you about money. And you're exactly right. It's intentional. Like the school system, the banking system, really the college system. And listen, you can take things in a good route and you can go to college and you can apply things correctly and cut out all the bullshit that you got taught, right? But in general, our education and banking system is there to enslave us. Like, let's be very honest. It is to teach us to be employees, not bosses. It's to keep us broke. It's to keep us depressed because that's what, there we go. Listen,
clock it.
Yep.
Seriously.
That's actually how like corporations make money, right? So, and that's fine.
Right, it's fine. It's a capitalistic country, but.
But if you want to break out of that, like you can't keep falling into the same traps, right? So it's I think you're absolutely right. And again, this goes back to where we're all trained as like little kids don't talk about money. And it's the silliest thing on the planet.
Or that money doesn't buy happiness. It's not important. You should find the things that really matter. And it's like, I agree with all of that. You should find the things that matter. But you need money to do those
And that's a cope. Like when anytime somebody says like money's not everything, like, okay, what's your point? Are you trying to downplay the importance of money? Are you telling me that you'd rather just be broke? And here's the other thing that people need to get a hold of is you're not like, okay, money doesn't buy happiness. Cool. You're not going to be happy all the time anyway. Whoever told any of us that happiness is the only goal, if that's, listen, I do a whole bunch of shit that isn't necessarily good for my happiness. That is just shit that I got to do. Like I got to get up and brush my teeth. That doesn't make me happy. But if I don't, I'm going to be really unhappy if I stop, right? And that's, I wish people would get out of, and hopefully we can help. Like, don't live your life solely on happiness. But make sure that you're doing the things that are required that you're going to be happy the majority of the time, right?
Right.
But I hate when people say, that's loser talk to me, where somebody's like, oh, money isn't everything. Yeah, no shit it's not. Good point. Anything else? Any other brain busters, dude? Like, what are we talking about? Okay, go have none of it then. Have fun.
Right, exactly. I'm not going to argue with you if you want to.
Yeah, and again, it's just so baked into, like, our society and all this stuff. And it's like, okay. But that is programming to, like, if the majority of people don't have any money, then the minority are going to have it all, right? And my goal, I don't know about you, Dana, but my goal is to not be broke forever. That would suck.
Definitely not.
Yep.
No.
So, interesting. Okay, so let me take another little side note here. So you got your MBA.
Yes.
How do you feel? Because that's the path I was going down. I went to business school for a year. And I graduated in 2009, like into the financial crisis.
Have you seen the Kevin Hart? Like,
yeah. I mean, I was entering the job market during the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression.
Yes, right.
Okay?
Right.
So I realized pretty soon that like school wasn't necessarily going to be the answer. How do you feel in hindsight going through that full 6 years getting your MBA? Do you think it was worth it? Do you think it was required to do what you're doing now? Tell me like your thoughts on all that.
Oh, here we go. The education question.
Yep.
So the MBA actually took 2 years.
Of course.
So bachelor took 4, but it took me 7, and then so I was in school for like 9.
It's 9 years to get your MBA, right? That's what I'm asking. Yes.
So I am such an advocate for school because I think it teaches you a lot about yourself. I think that there's nothing, you can't blame a bad grade on anybody really but yourself, or like you not getting your degree but yourself, because it's what you put in. I think it's an actual representation of what you put in, you kind of get out, and you have to show up, and it's something you have to commit to. So I think school trained my brain in a different way, and I think that all those things that I learned in school you can obviously learn them in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to say that education is the way to go. I just think that for me, that's what trained my brain.
Yeah.
Specifically, I think a lot of the things I learned in school does help me with my business when I think about business models or when I think about margins. So, you know, a lot of people, they go into businesses and they want to do merch. I want to do a clothing brand. And it's like, have you ever looked at the margins of like a clothing brand? There's no point in really doing that unless it's like your passion, I guess. But why would you just pay a printing company majority of? But that's another story. So that's why I always think about margins, you know, customer acquisition, strategy. I'm always thinking long term, where are we going with this? So I do think that helped me in this, but of course you don't need education to run a business, and you don't need education to be a millionaire or a billionaire or anything like that. But I am an advocate for school. My kid will be going to school. It's not up for debate.
Okay, interesting. What if one of your children says, "Mom, it's not my thing. I'm just not gonna do it."
That's cool.
Yeah.
You don't really have a choice.
Really? Okay.
You don't really have a choice. So in high school, I'm going to have them probably do dual enrollment. So they'll be like halfway already done by the time they graduate. Granted, if they're doing sports and like you need to stay in school longer, I'm totally aware of that whole play on that. But yeah, you're going to be halfway done by the time you're 18. You might as well just go get the goddamn degree.
Boy, you got a lot of plans, man. Like if my parents had tried to tell me that, I'd have been like, "Hey, man, no." And I got to tell you, too, this scenario where we disagree, which is great.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that there's only 3 jobs you should go to school for. Only 3. Doctor, lawyer, engineer. I firmly believe that if you're going to do anything else, you're actually wasting your time. You are, like, listen, you went to school for 9 years to get an MBA. How much money do you think that cost you?
$70,000.
70 grand. If somebody takes 70 grand and starts that business, all that stuff you learned in 9 years, you learn in 6 months.
The stuff that I've learned in 6 months is crazy. Absolutely.
Yep. And that goes to my next question. How long ago did you start this? Around that time?
So I started writing in November, and then
Wow, you hammered it out.
I hammered it out because
Holy
I just
cow.
word vomited. It was really easy.
Just
it's
coming
stuff
out of you.
it's like stuff that I say every day. It's stuff I believe in. For the last 10 years, I've exhibited this behavior, so it was very easy.
So you're making my point here is in the last 6 months, you've learned way more than you learned in business school. Way more.
Absolutely. So, but I will add to that authority. So I'm a girl. I look very young.
Yeah.
It does help with my authority when I'm looking for sponsorships or partnerships. Hey, I have an MBA in this. And I also chose Washington State University because it is a better school. It's not one of the best. Obviously, I paid out of pocket, but it is a higher. I was trying to, something I learned in college is for investors. Like he's like, you know, I don't think your college matters, but it does help when I'm talking to investors, and it does help with authority. I think it also helps with my book as well because it's written very easily. It's easily digestible. So I don't want people to think like, oh, anybody can do that. I could write that type of book. It's easy. And it's like, so I do think it helps me with authority as well. But yes, to your point, that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to argue about if college is,
I love
you know, you do what you want to do if you want, but I'm an advocate for it. I think, what are you doing at 18, 19, 20, 21? Like, just go get the degree.
But devil's advocate again. Just one last one.
If they give
I
me
can't
a
help
business plan, give me a business plan. Okay, that's fine. But can you do both?
I didn't write a business plan for my company. I just
Me either.
said,
I don't have a business plan either.
Here's my devil's advocate, and then I'll leave this subject alone, and it's okay. Listen, I'm the type of person, anybody out there, I can disagree with you and still love you to
Same.
death. It's all good. But had you started a company 10 years ago, and you learned all the hard mistakes the first year, and then you spent the other 9 years making a bunch of money, and you lived in a mansion in Beverly Hills, and you had whatever car you wanted, authority wouldn't be any issue. And nobody would be asking, where'd you go to school?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But do I think that I was mentally equipped to handle that? And that's just not even based off education. That's just my mentality. And, you know, I had to go to therapy and stuff like that. So learning all that. So I think the person that everything happens when it's supposed to happen for me. But yes, absolutely. Yes, of course, authority doesn't. It doesn't. Absolutely, it doesn't. And I think that my biggest authority is that I'm living and what I'm preaching is that I'm able to have this business and go full in on it. That is my biggest authority. So yes.
It's awesome. And listen, I'm talking shit. I was fully committed to going and get my MBA. So like, don't get it confused.
I got my MBA because I didn't know what to do after
What
my
else to do?
bachelor's.
Yeah.
I was either cocktailing. I didn't want to go back to cocktailing and just being that. So it was easy. School was easy for me. If you have this business and you want it, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
And that's where I think the real value actually is it's not even necessarily what you learn. It's the people that you meet, the network that you can build, and the learning about yourself. Like and listen, I was lucky. Like since the time I was 5 years old, people would ask me what I wanted to be, and I'd say I want to be rich, I want to be a businessman. So I always knew, like, I just didn't need school to figure that out. Yeah. But that's not the same boat that, like, the vast majority of people get out of high school and they're like, holy shit, what am I going to do here? You know? Listen, if you're using it for what it's for, but my message to people would be like, and to you, let me tell you something. Did I ask you if you had a degree before you wanted to come on this show? No. Absolutely. Like, the authority is the fact that you're out there hustling and you're doing it. That's what matters.
It does. Yes.
I would argue very strongly that the vast majority of your authority is going to come from that, and nobody.
Yeah, but I think the fact that I cocktailed while getting the degree is also the authority well in that sense. But yes, I am totally understand where you guys come from. I was in my undergrad and he was like, what do you want to do, my professor? What do you want to do? I want to open a business. Why are you here? You don't need to be doing it. And also, I will say, some people go to school because you have to. Asian mother, okay? Like, I don't think that I had a choice to not. Just like how I'm telling my kid right now, I don't even have any kids, and that poor kid has to go to school.
You watch. You're going to have a kid that he's a professional video game streamer, and he's already made $1 million by 16.
For sure. I understand business models. I'm not an idiot.
And he's going to be like, Mom, what are you talking about? I'm going to school. No. And stuff works out. And listen, your path to be able, now you are the most as qualified a person on earth to talk about this subject because you went down that path. So yeah, stuff in general goes how it's supposed to go. So no, it's super cool and super interesting.
Stay in school.
Yeah, I know. We've got Mrs. Stay in School over here, and then Mr. like, you're an idiot if you go to school. So it's all good.
But I will say I talk from being in the industry and going to school. So it's like, if you are in the industry, what you would suggest them start a business? It's really hard to start a business if you're working.
Hey, do you want me to answer that question?
So, if we're talking about what these service industry professionals do, just save up until they can start a business?
You don't need any money to start a business.
I agree. I did not start mine with that much.
And that's like the big misconception is people think I got to save up $100,000 before I start.
Put
vicious action into whatever it is you want to do. And by the way, listen, split test it, okay? Be going to school, be working a job, and then also, this is literally what I did. Just put a little bit of effort into it and see, and use it with as little money as you can, right? You don't need any money to write that book. All you need is a laptop. You need $700 for an iMac to do this, okay?
And even that, the library's free.
The library, and then you can promote it and see if there's interest, and then if there is, you could theoretically sell 100 of those books before it even exists and say it comes out in 6 months, I'll ship it to you. So that's what I would recommend.
I agree. Yeah. Someone told me like, if I gave you $100,000, what would you do? I said, I don't need that much.
And listen, it helps. Money's gas on the flame of a business, but
when you're ready to scale, but like getting it like started, you don't need nothing.
So that would be my advice is listen, if you happen to agree with some of the stuff I'm saying, just put action in that area, and you're going to find out if it's anything quick or not. Like, as soon as you got this going, you were going to learn very quickly whether it was anything or not, right? So you were going to either get zero interest, or you were going to have what's happened, and everybody's like, oh, shit, like, this is actually, I need that book.
That's me,
Yeah. Like, to spend $20 on a book to potentially, make yourself an extra $20,000 in a year, incredible investment.
Right.
Like, and I would tell everybody, like, here's where you really need to invest your money is on learning stuff like this. Like, it always drives me crazy that people won't spend $20 on a book to make, $200,000 over the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, the most, especially when you're young folks, like 18 to 25, take all of your money and dump it into educating yourself and learning, and that's
Mister, don't go to school, but educate yourself. Okay,
hey,
so there
hey,
we
hey,
go.
hey.
There we go. I'm
But
big
here's
on that. Yes.
here's my point: is
I
you can
agree
do
with him.
you can
Educate
do it
yourself.
yourself.
Exactly, and that's my big lesson I try to teach as well. So
I'm not anti-education.
yes,
But
same. I'm not, and I'm not pro school. I think if you're not doing anything, you should just go. Like, a lot of us, we waste our 18, 19, 20-year age. If you're running a business, do whatever. Like, that's cool. I think at 19 though, I wanted to open a hookah lounge. It's going to be called Cloudy in June.
There we go.
So I've already been thinking about what I was going to do.
Well, listen, don't let that dream die yet. Who knows?
Hookah's dying now. Nobody smokes hookah
Is
anymore.
I'm not like a nicotine tobacco guy, so I don't know shit about it.
I am quitting at the moment, so I'm about 16 days in.
Yep, I get hopped up on caffeine. That's my drug of choice.
That's my new thing. So
awesome. Okay, well, that was a great little rant there we just went on. What do you, in your estimation, is the biggest problem in this industry that's causing these that you can fix? Like, you can talk to somebody for 15 minutes, and if they listen to you, it's not going to exist anymore. What do you think is the most poignant advice if you only had 15 minutes to talk to somebody that you could get through? They can't read that whole book, but they can talk to you for 15 minutes. What would you tell them?
So I think that a challenge that I'm facing is that a lot of people are complacent in where they are. They don't want to make the change. Mm-hmm. So I have to kind of explain my story in that, and that there is more to cocktailing, but a lot of them are stuck in their mindset and they don't want to. So they're like a fish in a small tank, and they're okay like that. So I think just determining from the very first minutes where they're at mentally if they want to, because it's really hard to convince somebody to get out of their mindset. I'm doing it with my family right now, and I'd rather just cut them all off.
you can lead a horse to water.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
So I mean, if they're not willing to, they have to already be at that point. But
let's assume they're at that point. They come to you. They're like, Dana, I'm sick of this. I've been at the best nightclub in town. Mm-hmm. I've been making $1,000.
Nice.
$1,000 every 2. Let's say I've been making $5,000 a week like clockwork. I don't have anything to show for it. Give me the thing that's going to light the fire. What can I do right now?
So I actually built a framework that's supposed to be designed after you read the book, and it is where you are in your financial journey and what the next steps are to do. So the first step is self-awareness. So if you're there at that point where I want to make that change, the next step would be maximum or income maximization. So working as much as you can. A lot of us sabotage our income by calling out, going to Miami for a month because we made a bunch of money. So that's the next step. And then after that is your budgeting and your emergency fund. So just determining where they're at in their journey. And then I would just go through that whole process. The framework is actually designed to replicate the steps of a martini. So it's the glass, the pour, the mix, the ice, the shake, and the serve.
Sweet. So again, I'm an idiot. We threw this together too quickly. You've got a 5-step plan for somebody that you can give them a visual of that and say, go do this and your life will get better.
It's actually a digital workshop that I sell on my website.
Okay, what's that website right now?
Of course, howtococktale.com.
Howtococktale.com.
Tale because it is a story.
And again, this is what I would tell all you girls. Don't go waste $70,000 on a degree. Go pay. I don't know what she charges.
Use mine. Degree.
I don't know what she charges. Spend the $20 or the $50 or the $100 or the $1,000, whatever it is. Okay, we haven't even talked about it. And go through that. That is going to give you more value. How long does it take somebody to get through that?
It's a 30-minute.
30 minutes.
It's 30 minutes. It is $30, and I even talk about. I include my 2025 W-2 where I saved over $50,000 in taxable income as a cocktail waitress. I didn't do anything illegal. That's not with my side business. That's just what they can do right now. So.
Okay. So for everybody listen to that. I want you to. We're gonna hit the rewind button on YouTube right now. The back 30 seconds. You can spend. Hear me when I say it. $30. To potentially, if you're in the service industry, save $50,000 in taxable income your first year, I assume, right? If you implement what you say.
Absolutely. It's two things. I mean, I'm not going to say it because it's on the workshop. But yeah, 2 simple things, nothing illegal, nothing crazy. It's my actual W-2 is on there. And
So listen, that's my argument there is you're probably not going to get that kind of value out of school. You can
Right.
do this self-education stuff where, listen, I'm in the same boat. I do a lot of the same stuff. I'm not here to sell you guys anything, so I'm not even going to talk about it. But spend the $30 on that, the $50 on her book, and the chance that you don't, recoup that $70,000 you would have paid to school in the next 1 or 2 years is basically zero if you actually implement it.
Right.
And you make an incredible point. Those of you out there, you got to make the decision that you want to change your life.
Aww.
Until you do that, none of us can help you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who's successful can't do anything for you until you make that decision. And I promise you, the other end of that decision is nothing but good stuff. So if you're scared, it's okay. I've been there. I was scared. I guarantee there was a point in Dana's career in life she was scared to take whatever the next step forward was in your life. Just do it. The worst case scenario is you're going to be right where you're at now. You probably don't have anything to lose. So
that is real.
Anyway, I'll turn off my salesman hat and ask you the next question. Okay. Do you think you could get rich from waitressing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially back in the day, like I said before, it was corporate. Like these girls were making $100,000 a year, and then $20,000 on paper. Like pretty much cleaning a bunch of money. So yeah, I think so. I think if you start young and you invest, so I'm big on 401ks and maxing them out because it helps with tax strategy, not because like retirement, woo, but just like that alone. If you're just putting that 20,000, how much you're saving in taxes on that plus the 20,000. Mutual funds. I just think that we don't need this much to live. You probably need like 30,000, 40,000 maybe to live. As a young girl, and then you're making 80,000, 90,000. Save half of it, invest half of it, and you'll be doing this for about 10, 15 years, and you can do whatever you want, and you'll be 35 and retired.
Yep.
Absolutely, I think you can get rich of it. I think cocktail waitresses or people in the service industry could run this city if they were smart about it, especially back in the day. They could have bought up all this land. We could have been in legislature, like everything.
Even now, it's never too late. Like
it's never too late, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, imagine that. Literally, imagine every waitress, dealer, valet, and dancer in this town implemented 50% of what you say in this book. How much better off that group of people would be, and how much control would they be able to gain?
And society too, I feel like as well, because when you are depressed or operating in a scarcity mindset, like you're gonna go drink, you're gonna go after work and hang out with you're not gonna do all those habits if you are playing the long game or you have bigger goals than that. So absolutely.
And you're speaking to like a really important point. I talked about this on the Will. We talked about this in depth on the last podcast I just did. Everybody, man, try to elongate your thinking from tomorrow or the next day or the day after that. Try to think like in general, you're never going to make worse decisions by looking 5 or 10 or 20 years down the road and saying, what will provide me the best result today? What can I do today that's going to provide the best result 10 years from now? Because if you start elongating your view of the future from just what's right in front of your nose, again, the likelihood you don't make a better decision is zero. Like you're talking about something really important here where that's one of the biggest mistakes that I made young in my career is like really try to think long term. And once you do, once you train that muscle, it actually becomes a lot easier. Like
everything is like,
so much.
It's kind of crazy. You're kind of like, you're being dramatic. It's like, no, I'm thinking in 5 years, can I deal with this?
Yeah. And like the richest people on the planet think in terms of the next 1,000 years, right? Like Elon's trying to solve problems that are 5,000 years into the future. Okay.
Right.
So there's actually no limit to this. Like the further out in front you can think about, and that's where I'm at in my life now. I actually don't care about the next 100 years. What is my bloodline going to do? That's where I'm like sitting. Okay. So again, not to talk about myself, but, whatever you can do, even if you just start small, right? Start from exactly what we just talked about. Don't care about what you make last weekend. What do I make this month? Let's try to make 10 grand this month. And then we did that. Let's try to make 12 next month. And then elongate that. Okay, my best year ever was 80,000. Let's try to make 96 next year, right? And the more you guys can do that, when I started doing that, that's when I started making real money. And I had my daughter is what happened. And I started caring about the future. And man, it's crazy powerful. So awesome. Well, the answer to everything in this podcast is just go read your book. So go read your book, go do your online course. And we're going to tag all that stuff. Cool. Well, how do I want to ask this next question? What's the number one lesson? Forget about everybody else for a second, but 18 years old. What's the number one lesson you would have gone back and tried to teach yourself?
So I have no regrets.
Okay, good.
Like everything made me who I am today, all the mistakes, all the 7 years of undergrad. But I think that something I was lacking, and I think a lot of people are lacking, is self-love. I think it saves you from a lot of heartbreak or, a lot of disappointments and people pleasing if you just really have self-love and maybe just understanding who you are in general, knowing what you are and your interests moving forward. I think you brought it up with Will, just like really holding that mirror up to you and knowing who you are will help you in so many.
And I want to say this in a different way because people get caught up in like buzzwords, but what you're actually making like a crazy good point. Yeah. People care way too much about what others think of them.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay? If you prioritize how you feel about yourself, like that's to me that's what self-love is. I don't care what anybody else thinks.
Right.
I'm at peace with where I'm at, and you're never going to be worse off by taking that attitude. So, yeah.
I think like with your actions too, if someone's treating you bad or you're in a bad relationship, if you lack that self-love, you're going to continue to be in that relationship. I think that it was shown in like friendships, friendships mainly, and then relationships as well too.
I talk about this a lot where as human beings, we have a problem with the gap between what we are currently doing and what we know we need to do. And the shorter you can make that bridge, that gap, generally speaking, let's take the relationship example. You'll talk to man or woman, right? It could be anybody. Yeah, I was with that person for 3 years and it was awful. Okay, my first question. When did it first start showing signs of going where it ended up? And invariably, they don't say year 2, month 11. They say, oh, the first 6 months was great. And then it started to downturn, right? So, again, what you're saying is like, close that gap between the 400-pound the 400-pound guy knows he needs to stop eating McDonald's, get his ass off the couch, and get to the gym 6 times a week.
Wow.
And the sooner he does that, the sooner he's not 400 pounds anymore.
Yeah, I like that. The gap is the self-love. Absolutely. Yes. We all know what we're supposed to be doing. I mean, that's why I stopped my nicotine vapes. Like, come on, I know this isn't good for longevity.
Yep.
But, yeah, once you make that decision and really stand up,
and
it's so easy.
The superpower is the second that thought comes into your head, I need to do something, just go do it. Because here's the problem. You are going to go do it eventually. Why are we waiting 3 years? Or like you knew you needed to stop nicotine for a long time. How long you been thinking that?
Probably like 10 years.
And you stopped 16 days ago.
16 days ago on my 30th birthday. I was like, all right, this is enough.
Now, granted, listen, addiction, chemicals are a different thing, but the point remains the same. Is like, yeah, and congratulations by that way.
I mean, in alcohol too, I'm at 10 months as well. I did 10 months ago, so I was like, it's just little things here. You know what you need to do. It's just getting rid of these little bad habits every day that I started making my coffee at home. It's just stupid stuff.
How, again, coming off on a different subject now, how do you feel 10 months, no alcohol?
I mean, I would be blind to sit there and say that I think my success is like attributed to it and like a clear, focused mind. But I want to drink. I need to drink. I'm thirsty.
10 months later.
I'm going to hit the year for sure. But
Filipinos, man, they like their alcohol. Let's just talk real right now. They like to get drunk.
Obviously, I feel better. I hate being hungover. But when I go out with my friends, like, I want to go home. Like, I would rather just go home. And I'm like, if I had like a drink or something, I probably would want to stay out later with them. So that's the only thing I feel bad. I'm just like, this is annoying now. Like, I don't want to be here. But
success can be boring.
It is, and lonely.
Yeah, it's very lonely. But no, I don't know if you even know this. You've probably seen it on my page. But I had a very serious injury 2.5 years ago. I fell 52 feet off of a roof. And alcohol was never like my thing. But after that happened, I was like, I would literally I'd be out. So all my employees are Mexican dudes. I always say this: Filipinos and Mexicans,
Hardest workers.
they're the same thing.
Oh,
They like to get drunk. They work their asses off. And let me tell you
They're
something.
hustlers. They are.
Those two groups of people will party like you've never. A 2-year-old's birthday party will go till 5 a.m. It ain't about the 2-year-old, bub. It's about everybody else getting drunk.
2-year-olds sleep on the chair over
Straight
here.
up, right? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. No.
Like Filipinos and Mexicans find any reason to party, and that's one of the reasons I love them. But
that is true.
but no, so like I would be out with my employees, and I'd have half of a beer or something, and I'd always just be like, why am I doing this? I hate it.
Yeah.
So after my injury, I stopped doing that. I was like, you know what? I will have so much more fun if I go out to a bar or nightclub and I just order a Red Bull. I say, like,
That's how I know exactly what you mean.
caffeine is my drug of choice. It's so much more fun. And I was like, why am I doing this? And I'm telling you, like, because again, I would never drink that much anyway. I would drink a little bit and hate it and stop. I was like, why am I doing this? And since I just made that little change, man, and again, I'm blessed. I don't have the alcohol bug, but man, like, I'm like 2.5 years, not a drop.
Wow.
And it's
I know.
awesome.
I think it is the way to go, and it just hinders you. Like, unless you're, I guess, probably done working. But who's done working?
Oh, I was gonna say, listen, once you've sold 10 million copies of
Yeah.
this book, and you're on the
right.
beach, and you know,
Right, drink it up.
Go
But
nuts.
we got stuff to do right now.
yeah.
So.
And I firmly believe that, like, in your 20s and 30s, like, unless you got millions in the bank, there's not actually like a reason to do
Exactly.
it. What, you're not having enough fun in life? You know what's fun? Having a pile of money. That's fun.
Being able to do whatever you want
Yep.
every day.
Yep. So, all right. Well, last question I'm going to end this with, and I cannot wait to hear your answer to this. What is money?
Money is an energy. I always say money is energy. It flows between. But I agree with you that money isn't real. Money is just what gives you the options to do whatever you want. So I agree with you. I think it's an energy. It flows in between us. It comes and it goes, and it shouldn't control or define you.
No. Awesome answer. I talk about this, like, talk about scarcity, abundance, like, we're in Las Vegas, right? You look around, you go outside on the street, and you just look over at the strip. You are looking at trillions of dollars. Okay?
In so many different ways.
Yeah, literally, like,
real estate, the gambling, everything. Just
whatever, right?
ridiculous.
So, like, people have this thing where, like, they think that the next $500 they get is going to be the last they get. I want you all to know there is no shortage of money flying around this place. It's like exactly what you say. I would describe it this way. Money's like a river. All you got to do is get into a river that's flowing, and you're going to end up wet, right? So just focus on trying to get as close to where money is moving around as possible, and it's going to be hard not to get some of it. I promise you guys, it's not as real as you think. Don't mistake what I'm saying. Like,
No,
that doesn't mean you should do stupid stuff and light it on fire in your driveway by any means, but don't let it control you. And the second you realize that it's just numbers on a screen, the quicker you'll be able to get a whole bunch more of it, because you're not so afraid of it. People are so afraid of money.
Yeah, or like tying it to like a value of something. Like, you're right, it's not real. Like, you give out numbers, you're doing invoices. It's like, it's not real.
And listen, if I take every dollar that's in your bank account right now, I take it out, I light it on fire, your mom still loves you. What's not going to happen, a portal to hell isn't going to open up, and you're not going to fall into it. You're going to have a couch to sleep on. You're going to, this is a verse in the Bible, and I can't quote it directly because I'm not smart enough. But there's a verse in the Bible that talks about how the birds, the sparrows are flying around, and God provides for them. And they don't go to work. They don't sit around stressing about how they're going to find their next meal. And we're way important to God than the birds are, so we're going to be fine, guys.
That's what I always say. Yeah. It's going to work out the way
you'll always have a couch to sleep on. There's always somebody in this world, for the most part. There's exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, we all have somebody that loves us, that'll let us come live at their house for a month. Don't be scared of it. Take the risk, and are you so happy that you put this into action?
I thank the Lord every day, like speaking of the Bible, but yeah, it's crazy. I think just within the last couple months, I'm really stepping into that. Holy shit, this is my life.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's cool.
It's funny because I always had money saved up and I was saving for retirement cocktailing, and I was like, well, what am I going to do? There's no point in me quitting. I don't have a business I want to start. I don't have anything. And then just randomly now I have something I'm super passionate about, something I understand like inside and out. And yeah, everything happens when it's supposed to, and I'm very thankful.
Have you started doing, and not to get into like boring business stuff on this podcast, but have you started doing any sort of conferences, speaking in person, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I do speaking engagements. I just spoke at a first-time home buyer event that she was doing, but you know, I'm cold calling all the time as well, so I'm on Facebook, any conventions. I'm open to that. I'm also trying to speak to unions and really getting into the union out here because they actually control a lot of employees rather than just me going to one hotel. Like, that's where it's at. So definitely.
Well, anybody interested in listening to this awesome girl talk, DM me, DM her. I think really what I see in your future is you filling up expo centers with 100 or 200 or 300 people that all paid $5,000 and come in to listen to you, because like the value that you're given is way more than 30 or 60 bucks, and there's so many people that are going to benefit from doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
So
that's someone's told me that before. They're like, I see you.
That's where you're going to end up
speaking. Yeah. Not like a big influencer type of thing, but just like sharing my story, which is crazy. I just got asked to speak at this movie premiere. It's nothing crazy, but I was like, what do you want me to speak about? It's a movie premiere. He's like, just about like following your dreams. And I'm like, oh, wow. That's what you view me as someone who followed my dreams. And it's like, yes, I did. I think that I have like imposter syndrome for a long time. And now I'm like, no, girl, like you built this. You were the founder. Own it all. Yeah,
and it's only, I mean, if you're in your first 6 months, like... You haven't even made you got a lot of mistakes to make, and you got a lot of ground to cover, and like if you think you've made progress thus far, just wait till you see like the next year, 2 years.
I know, I'm so excited.
Wait till you see Christmas and you put this thing on Amazon or whatever. I mean, you're gonna do big things. So hey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Plug
you.
one last time. I want you to tell us your Instagram, your TikTok, your YouTube, and then your website that people can go get this stuff.
So my Instagram and TikTok are going to be the same, june.allyear. My website is going to be danajune.com. I don't think I have a YouTube. But yeah.
Not yet? All right. Well, we're going to post this on ours, Niche Down Pod. Obviously, you guys can follow me at Gage the Greek. We'll be collabing on all this stuff, so you'll see all this on my page. You'll see it on hers. And, shoot this young lady a DM and ask her for a book. And if you give her $20, she will send you one. So
I know. Shipping is actually free right now. I haven't announced that, but it's free on the website.
Live on the Niche Down Pod, free shipping. For how long are you doing that? Haven't thought about it. Right
yet.
Now. It could go away at any time.
Yes.
So go and do that. I mean, again, $20 to I can't even believe what you just said.
Yeah, 10 years, 2 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. Think of that. Okay, you guys don't have to go to school. You can just take the $70,000 she spent, and it's in that book, all the lessons she learned, distilled down to the most digestible form, and you can get that. So, again, thanks so much for coming, and we'll do it again for sure.
Yes, for sure.
Alrighty. Thanks, guys. Niche down. Money's not real. We're out.